You're listening to Mike Dell's World with your host, Mike Dell. From Mike Dell Studios, this is a Mike Dell production, created by Mike Dell. Mike Dell.
And I am the before-mentioned Mike Dell. Thanks, Mark, for the intro. And, another month and a half has slipped by, but never fear, I'll always be here. Or at least that's what I like to think. So let's see, it's October 1st, 2021. We did survive yet another month and a half, and all is well. Let's see what all happened since then. I think I told you about traveling to Nashville at the beginning of October, and I might have told you about the new pickup truck, but I don't know. I guess we won't worry about that because the biggest news in my little world here is that now I'm down to one personal podcast. This one. I decided after so many years of fits and starts and all that stuff that, I need to cut down. I'm already doing Podcast Insider, which I've been very regular on every week. Not always the host, but most of the time. I'd say 50 weeks out of 52 every year. I'm the co-host, at least, of that show. So and I kind of got my fill of talking about podcasting when it comes to my own show, since I already have Podcast Insider. So to that end, Podcast Help Desk has been retired. It's still there and available, and I put out an episode. Was it today or yesterday? I forget. Anyway, I put out an episode. Yeah, it was yesterday. International Podcast Day, and I'm done with it for now. Done with it probably for the foreseeable future. So here I am. Here, Podcast Insider, if you want to hear me via podcasting. And I do still have the video channel, which I may do more with. You never know. But I'm actually putting together some topics of things I want to do on this show, so maybe I'll become a little more regular. I do appreciate those of you that have stayed subscribed over the years and to this one and that one. But, time has come, and I feel guilty because I'm not putting out episodes on Podcast Help Desk, so harumph, there it is. So let's see, been a Chamber of Commerce week here in Traverse City. It's been, in the 70s pretty much every day. Gotten a little cool beginning of the week. But today it got up into the 80s, or early, high 70s anyway. It was enough. I had to put the air conditioning on in the office, at least towards the end of the day. Definitely not normally what I do, but at least this time of year. But it's been great. Like I said, the weather's been perfect, and since we got rid of the motorhome, I think I told you that too, didn't I? Maybe not. I don't know. It's been so long. I got to start doing this a little more often. But some of the topics, let me see. I'll bring up my little document here. And some of the topics, like right now I'm doing the one about getting rid of Podcast Help Desk and down to one podcast, two if you count Podcast Help or Podcast Insider. See, this is all too complicated. But I've got 4 or 5 topics here that I want to talk about coming up. I want to talk about my favorite car YouTubers. I tend to watch a lot of car YouTube. Actually, watch a lot of YouTube since I can't really stand watching the mainstream media these days. So I've been watching YouTube, and Kathy and I have been rewatching all of the Star Treks. We're 2 episodes away from finishing Deep Space Nine, and then we'll go on to Voyager, I think, next, and then we'll do Enterprise. And by then, the new Picard series may be out, or Discovery season 4. I don't know. Of course, been watching Lower Decks as well as they've been coming out, and probably have to take a look at Prodigy, even though that's more of a kid's cartoon Star Trek. But anyway, so, but like I said, I want to start, talking about some YouTubers that I like in the car genre. I'm going to do a Rodecaster, and don't get that confused with the Rodecaster Pro, which is what I'm using to record this now. But, when I used to work for the courier company, I used to do a medical route, and that, was about a 300 and something mile route. Took me all over northern lower Michigan to several hospitals, picking up samples and all that. And haven't done that in many years, a few years anyway. And I'm going to go run that. I'm going to take a day off from work, and, it's totally frivolous and a waste of gas and all that. But, a little nostalgia, as I talked about nostalgia as a disease in a previous episode. Well, I'm having a little bit of that. So I'm going to do that. So I'll take off at 7 a.m. like I used to do every Sunday for a couple of years, and head up to Charlevoix, Michigan, and then over to Petoskey, Michigan, and then down to Gaylord, Michigan, and then across to Alpena, Michigan, and then down to East Tawas through Oscoda. And when I'm going through Oscoda, I'm going to swing out to the old Wurtsmith Air Force Base, which isn't really an Air Force Base anymore, but used to keep 747s out there, old 747s that they were scrapping. And I go out there and see if they're still doing that out there. I think they are. And then, like I said, down to East Tawas, and then across to West Branch, and up to Grayling, and then across to Traverse City. So, that'll burn up a day and probably a tank of gas, and it'll be kind of nice. But I'm going to wait till the leaves are a little bit more changed for fall. I guess, away from the lakes here, they're already starting to change, but peak won't be for probably another couple of weeks. So I'll be sure to get a lot of video, but I'm going to do a podcast while I'm doing the drive. So we'll call that a Roadcast. And there's this little lake called Thumb Lake near Boyne City that I always used to drive past. And there was, one little pull-off park there at the south end of the lake that was absolutely gorgeous when the leaves were all colorful for the fall, and I want to get a couple of good pictures of that and check it out. So like I said, it'll be a couple of weeks probably. I'll take a day off during the week and go do that. Of course, I want to talk about, I'm going to do an episode on big tech and simplifying one's life. Got an interesting story about that that I'll talk about, and all that. And then on my list of things, and these may not come out in the same order that I put them here, but I'm going to rant a little bit about the crazy world we're in now. So if you're politically inclined in a different direction, well, doesn't hurt to listen to somebody with an opposing view, so I appreciate you listening. But if you don't agree, that's fine. We don't have to agree. We can still be friends. But, I'm going to get a little political. But that's all, that's what I've got so far in my list of ideas. I put it in Google Keep, so I can flip my phone open and, That'll be another story, but I can open my phone and get on Google Keep and add topics as they pop into my head. That might keep me on track a little bit more. I don't know. It'll be fun anyway. Let's see. I'm recording this a little bit differently. I'm using the Rodecaster, but I'm doing it into Audition directly. I don't know why. Usually I record on the Rodecaster, but instead I'm going to record through the Rodecaster. And, I was going to try something else too. No, I guess I won't. I'm a little bit preoccupied here. Sorry about that.
I'm just an old man.
I always thought that was a funny one. I got a lot of funny little sound effects here, but my favorite one right now currently is
Go podcasting!
of course, that's Adam Curry, the Podfather, and so I played that. That was the last thing I played on the podcast help desk, ironically. But yeah, that's all that's going on this weekend. Kathy went downstate to visit her mom, and so I'm batching it. Hence me being up at 10 o'clock at night out in the studio recording rather than sitting in the easy chair watching TV with the wife. But so be it. Got a few little projects on my list, and none of them were honey-do projects. They've all been mic projects, I call them. The one that I did tonight is, since we sold the motorhome, I had an extra HF rig, high frequency, shortwave, but a transceiver, a transmitter receiver. And for those keeping score in the ham radio world, a Kenwood 450 SAT, which means it has an auto tuner. And I have more than one HF antenna strung up, so I thought, well, I'll put the the second HF radio on the ham desk and hook that into the computer so I can do the digital modes on one machine and have the do all my voice, ham radio stuff on the other one. So I've got the dipole antenna stuck into the older Kenwood radio, and I got the newer one with the amplifier and all that, the long wire. That's hooked into the newer Kenwood. So now I don't have to switch back and forth between voice and digital. So I can turn on the digital radio and run digital, and turn that off. Turn on the voice radio and do voice. And can't really do them at the same time because the power supply I have won't handle two HF rigs. But anyway, so I did get that done tonight, and that was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, but got that figured out. And I also figured out how to make Windows boot first on my dual boot machine, since most of the digital software is Windows. Of course, I'm a hardcore Mac and Linux guy, but had to break down and get a Windows machine simply for the ham radio software, because that tends to be where all of them get developed for, which makes sense. That's the biggest operating system out there, so you would think that would be why. So I've got a Windows 10 machine now that is strictly ham radio, but I can boot into two different flavors of Linux off of that. But I wanted it so that it would boot to Windows automatically, so I didn't have to select Windows when I hit the power, because I can hit the power button and then go do something else and come back and it'll just be in Windows, and that'll be better than dinking around with having to wait and arrow down and select whatever flavor of Linux. I got Mint and Fedora on there as well, and I haven't played with Fedora enough, and Mint's kind of cool, but I think they're trying too hard to make it look like Apple or Windows. Excuse me, I had to take a sip of my beverage of choice, a fine lager by what's the name of this? Black something brewery? I don't know. Oh. Geez, I can't see the stupid thing. It's not light enough in here. I like to keep the lights down when I record. So let me put some light on the subject. Black Rocks. It's Black Rocks Oktoberfest, some sort of style lager, Mazarian. I don't know what that means, but it's pretty good stuff. Said I don't drink the fancy beer all that often, but thought I would try that. Usually I like darker beer, like Guinness or some sort of stout or porter, or if I'm just having a beer with dinner, Labatt's or some sort of lager or something like that, or Miller Lite for that matter. I'm not that picky, but the stuff's pretty good. It's like a German-ish beer, kind of like German beer. I think I told you about the German place I went to in Nashville, and the beer was good, very good. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, my project list tomorrow is get the plow attached to the tractor and take off one of the rear wheels of the tractor and load that in the truck and head over to the tire shop in the morning. Get a tube put in it or something, whatever has to happen. But it's losing air. But kind of half getting the tractor ready for winter, and I got some scrap boards laying around. I got the walkway going to my shed office studio here. Finally put together. I ordered 10 yards of gravel, and most of it went in the driveway, but a good chunk of it went to level out the area where I put the walkway, the paving stones in for the walkway. But I got a lot of scrap wood that I need to utilize, so I'm going to cut that down and skirt the bottom of the shed because it's kind of off the ground a little bit on posts. We put it at kind of on a hill, and so it's like 3 feet off the ground at the back of it, and now it's up level with the ground in the front. But anyway, I'm going to cut some of those plywood boards and skirt it around the bottom, and then I think I'm going to stack up rocks or something around the base, but that'll make it a little warmer this winter. It's only been a year since I've been in this thing, and I finally getting around to doing that. So that'll be my tomorrow project. If it's not raining, it's 50% chance of rain, so we'll see. Even if it is raining, I probably will do it anyway. We'll see how bad it is. Either that or I'm just going to sit on my butt in the easy chair and read books. I don't know. We'll find something to do. But that's the couple of projects I got for tomorrow. And yeah, that's really about it. So yeah, I just wanted to check in with y'all and thank you again for subscribing. And those of you that were subscribers to Podcast Help Desk, you can probably after this episode, the new one, you can unsubscribe because it ain't coming back. It'll be online for a while. We'll see. We'll leave it there. See, when the downloads trickle to a halt, but we'll see. And I'll just be podcasting here. And I'm going to do, like I said, a little more topical shows along with just these silly little updates. Again, this is my, mental health podcast and keep my foot in the game personally. And, of course, professionally, I'm doing podcastinsider.com every Thursday, normally live on Facebook and other places. You can go to the Blueberry Podcasting Group and find us 11 a.m. Eastern Time or thereabouts every Thursday morning, except for this coming up Thursday morning. We're not going to go live because I'm recording with a guest co-host, Kate, who's our pro production team manager for Blueberry. So, I always love to do a show with her. And, we both decided we don't want to get all gussied up for video. So we won't do live. But normally it's Todd and I that do live, or Mackenzie and I, or Mackenzie and Todd, whoever happens to be the host du jour of the week. But like I said, this week, or this coming up week, it'll be Kate and I. So, go over there and subscribe. Even if you're not interested in podcasting, it's kind of a fun little show. It usually goes half hour or so, unless we have an interview, and then it might go an hour. But as far as I know, no interviews this week. So, anyway, everybody have a good, however long it is till the next one. I'm not going to say week, but, could happen. King of inconsistency. That's me. Catch me later.
Go podcasting!
I still love that mic drop.